Welcome to Salvation by Grace, a broadcast ministry of Grace Christian Assembly, a Sovereign Grace Fellowship in Smyrna, Tennessee. For more information, we invite you to visit our website at www.salvationbygrace.org. Now let's join our teacher, Jim McClarty.
We need to take some time and look at the actual text here, Ephesians 2:8. I want to introduce you to a concept this morning. I want to introduce you to the neuter demonstrative pronoun. Ephesians 2:8, by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourself, happens to include a neuter demonstrative pronoun. And we're going to talk about that. Because how you deal with the little word that says an awful lot about faith, and whether faith is a gift or whether faith is something men do. Because it's very, very common, again, to hear people say, grace, that's God. God did the grace part in this verse. And we know that grace is not of ourselves. It must be the gift of God. It's very common for people to say, salvation. Salvation, that's a gift from God. You can't do anything to earn your salvation. Therefore, that is not of yourself, and no man can boast. But then they'll say, but the faith part, you got to do that. You do the faith. You do the believing. You got to do the faith part. Now, just yesterday, Steve Wellum said that regeneration must precede faith. Because it is impossible to say that dead men who have not been regenerated can somehow stir up belief. I argue that because absolutely everything necessary for our full, complete redemption and salvation is supplied by God, I argue that faith is a gift. God gives you the faith. Yes, we do believe. But you're not naturally going to do that. God must gift you with the ability, or you'll never do it. And that is exactly what Ephesians 2:8 says. But this is one of those places where the English language makes it more vague than it really is in the Greek language. Now, I don't pretend to be a Greek expert, but I know how to pay attention to people who are. Now, in this sentence, by grace are you saved through faith, I want you to think of those three words as being over here on this side of the platform. By grace are you saved through faith. Then there is this kai hutos, a form of tuto. It's translated and that. So, by grace are you saved through faith, and that is not of yourself, it is a gift of God, it's not of works. So over here, it's God's gift, it's not of you, it's not of works. So whatever over here, by grace, saved, faith, whatever over here qualifies as that is not of yourself, is a gift of God, not of works. You understand me so far? By grace, you're saved through faith. And that is not of yourself. It's a gift of God, not of works. So no one can boast. And that is the term that I just referred to as being a neuter demonstrative pronoun. Now, the reason that's important is because in the Greek language, whenever you see a pronoun, it has to agree in gender and in number with the antecedent of the pronoun. In other words, the word that, if it's referring to salvation, has to agree with the gender and the number. If it's referring to grace, and that has to agree in gender and in number. If it's referring to faith, it has to agree in gender and in number. Now, Arminian preacher after Arminian preacher after Arminian writer after Arminian writer will tell you that the word that is a neuter. In other words, it has no gender. It's not male, it's not female. Demonstrative means that it's pointing to a particular thing. It's the difference between saying a preacher preached and that preacher preached. So it's pointing directly at something. And the Arminians will tell you that it can't be referring to faith because faith is a feminine noun. And because faith is feminine and that is neuter, it can't be referring to faith. And you know what? They're right. But they won't tell you the rest of the story. So I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. The fact is, the word grace is also feminine and does not agree with and that. And the word salvation is masculine and does not agree with and that. In other words, by grace you're saved through faith. None of those words agree with and that. And so there is a rule in the Greek language, in Greek grammar, that whenever you find this kind of sentence construction, the writer did it on purpose because he wasn't trying to point at any one word. And that refers to the collective phrase. Therefore, by grace is a gift of God, not of works, not of yourself. Got it? You are saved, and that is a gift of God, not of you, not of works. You got it? And faith is a gift of God, not of works, not from you. You got that? Faith is a gift from God. Everything necessary for our full, complete salvation is supplied by God. I'm only saying one thing over and over again. I'm saying absolutely everything necessary for our full, complete redemption and salvation has been provided for us by God Himself. And He did it one way, and He did it for one reason. He did it to the glory of His grace. God is in the enterprise of glorifying Himself. He is going to get all the glory eternally, and it's all going to be His grace, 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 grace.